Hey, Biology 103. It is me, Professor Willis, and I'm here to introduce lab number 2 to you all. Lab 2 is broken up into 3 parts. The first one is looking at an organism named Euglena, and you're going to learn about how it interacts to certain environmental factors. Then you're going to be looking at the parts of a microscope and learning how a microscope works. And then the third part of the lab is going to be looking at pill bug behavior and how they respond to different environmental factors. So let us get started.
So first off, you should probably review some of these basic concepts that you went over, hopefully in Biology 102, and those two things being photosynthesis and respiration. So both processes pretty much maintain life here on Earth. Photosynthesis is the process of taking in sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water and turning it into a sugar, or a simple carbohydrate, as well as oxygen is a byproduct. Respiration is pretty much flipped of that. So in respiration, what you are doing is you're taking glucose and oxygen and you are breaking them down into CO2, water, and a chemical called ATP that is made. Photosynthesis takes place in the chloroplast, while respiration takes place in an organelle, for the most part, in the organelle called the mitochondrion. When you're talking about many mitochondrion, we call that mitochondria. So that's probably what your biology teachers used in high school. An organism that can actually do both photosynthesis and respiration is right here in this picture, and they are called Euglena. They are a unicellular protist, so they're in the protist kingdom, and they can do photosynthesis, but they can also do respiration. This is what a cartoon image of them look like. So you can see they are unicellular and they do contain kind of all the basics of a eukaryotic organism. So they have a nucleus, they will have organelles, but they will also have the chloroplast and the mitochondria. We call Euglena facultatively photosynthetic because they can perform both photosynthesis and respiration. So if there's sunlight available, they will perform photosynthesis, but if not, they can eat too. What's also pretty cool about these Euglena is they have a little tail, and we call that tail a flagellum, and they use this primarily for transportation. So some common characteristics of protists, which is what Euglena is number one, they tend to be eukaryotic. That means they have a true nucleus as well as organelles and are compartmentalized in the cell. Two, most of them are unicellular, so that means they're made up of just one cell. They also tend to prefer moist environments, so things with water type environments around them. They do like the use of oxygen, so most of them are aerobic. Aerobic means you use oxygen. And then the last thing, they do usually have something on them for movement, whether it be a flagellum or a cilia, to help them move in those environments to get from point A to point B. Okay, the second part of the lab is really just looking at the microscope and getting to know its basic parts. So the microscope is a really great tool that biologists use. If we were in the lab right now, we would be using it to look at Euglena. Unfortunately, thanks to COVID, we are here doing this. So the microscope is a tool to obviously magnify things. Some of the basic pieces that you should know, the eyepiece right here is called the ocular lens, and so that's usually what you look through. Down below, connected to the ocular lens, are the objectives, or the lenses that also magnify the objects, and they rotate, they revolve. And the reason for that is because you can start with something like a low power lens or objective, and then you can rotate it to a higher piece if you want to observe something more close up. Most microscopes that we tend to use at Dominguez are light microscopes. So there will always be a light source down here at the bottom along with the power switch. And then the other two very important pieces are these guys on the side. Pretty much what you do is you twist them, and those are the coarse adjustment knobs and the fine adjustment knobs. And what they do is they bring the items into focus, okay? Where do you put those items? You put them on the stage, which is this black piece right here on the microscope, and they're usually held by stage clips. All right, something that confuses students is the total magnification. So when you're using a microscope and you're looking at something underneath the microscope with just the eyepiece, usually our eyepieces are 10 times magnified, so they're 10 power. So that means if you're looking at something under the eyepiece, you're already seeing it 10 times bigger than it really is. The objectives, we have 3 of them on our microscopes. We have 4, 10, and 40. If you have the 4 objective on, that means you are seeing it 4 times bigger than what it is. If you have the 10, 10 times bigger, and the 40, 40 times bigger. So if you want to get the total magnification of what you are seeing, you simply take the eyepiece magnification and you multiply it to the objective magnification. So our eyepieces are 10. If you have the 4 objective on, 10 times 4 is 40. So you're seeing something 40 times bigger than it really is. If you switch to the 10 power objective, so now the eyepiece is 10 and the objective is 10, 10 times 10 is 100. So you're seeing something 100 times bigger than it really is. Some basic rules for microscope use. Number 1, you should always start on the lowest lens power. So for our microscopes, that's 4. You should always try to focus in on something that you know is there. So I always kind of looking at the cover slip that goes on the top of the specimen. And then once I have that in focus, I know everything else will be in focus. So then I kind of move the microscope slide into the area of the specimen so that I can see it. Once you are done, like obviously focusing, then you should switch to a higher power because then you know the thing is there. Be careful not to hit the lens on the slide. Both are made of glass and can break. Also, be sure to always clean the microscopes when you're done with lens paper, especially the eyepiece. Many people wear eye makeup, and when they look at the microscope, their eye makeup can get onto the eyepiece. So just make sure you clean with lens paper afterwards. And if we were at Dominguez, you would know to put them back into the cabinet. They're all numbered. Just make sure to put them back the way they went. All right, the third thing of our lab involves this process, and this process is called phototaxis. Phototaxis is the process of moving towards the light. Photo in Latin means light, and taxis means movement, to move. So when you see organisms moving towards the light, we call that phototaxis.
So our objectives for this week's lab is number 1, so learn about Euglena, and this is an organism that definitely uses phototaxis. Then you're going to be learning about the parts of a microscope, and then lastly, you're going to be learning about pill bugs and how they respond to different things in their environment.
Okay, so part 1 of the lab, which is attached also to this file in Blackboard, is you're going to use the internet simply to research things about Euglena. So you're going to answer those 4 questions there in your paper. Simply type up the answers using complete sentences. So use the internet to research Euglena. Part 2 of the lab is take a look and see how these microscopes work. So reviewing the basic rules of microscope usage as well as learning the parts. So again, you simply use the internet and this PowerPoint to answer questions 5, 6, and 7.
In the third part of the lab, you're going to go to this website here. The website is also listed on your lab paper. At this website, you're going to watch a woman who does the pill bug lab, and she separates it into two parts. The first part, you're just going to be watching the random movements of the pill bug, and this is called kinesis movement. In the second part of the lab, you are going to watch her apply an acid to one side of the choice chamber and a base to the other. And then you're going to see how the pill bug responds to these environmental factors. This process is called chemotaxis, if the pill bug moves towards or away from a certain chemical that's placed in the choice chamber. Make sure to record your data for both of these experiments. And in part 2, you're going to have to do a hypothesis. So which side do you think the pill bug is going to prefer? Do you think it's going to prefer the acid side or the base side? After she's run the experiment in part 2, I want you to come up with a claim and, of course, justify it with evidence. And then, of course, hypothesize why you think the pill bug prefers the side that it did. Now, this week's lab is a little tricky, so you're going to be turning in your lab by next Monday, which is February 15th by 5:30 p.m. However, there is not a lab for next week in week 3 because we have the President's Day holiday. So anytime that we have a holiday during the week, all the labs get canceled for that week. So we will not have a lab posted next week. I will go ahead and post lab 3 on Monday, February 22nd. However, lab number 2 is still due by next Monday at 5:30 p.m. Okay, everyone, good luck. Email me if you get stuck on anything, and I will see you next week.